All right, it's day 10, week 2. Yesterday, I got back from my day's worth of work and I was frazzled. I could not focus anymore. And I sat and reflected. I actually recorded a really impromptu video. I'm not sure if I'm going to post it. Maybe I will. Really asking the question of why am I finding it so hard to focus? You know, even to do 3 work blocks is a real struggle. And the reason is, I've been studying these online courses now for 14, 15 months and not earned really any money from them yet. And it starts to grind you down. They say that 80% of people who buy an online course do not complete the course. I've completed coming up for my 4th one now. So I have to give myself some credit for that. Nonetheless, 14, 15 months of just studying and realizing that I'm missing another piece of the puzzle, but I've got it all in hand now with this final course. It grinds you down, and being sat there on your own with a laptop is really lonely, to be honest with you. You're hopping around from these different places, trying to make it interesting, change environment. I find it challenging anyway. So that's just a bit of raw being real. But I sat there yesterday and reflected, and that's been very helpful, these videos. I also yesterday spoke about getting accountability from a friend. That definitely helped me turn my phone off earlier. So that's useful. I adopted the approach of treating myself in these videos as if I was a client that I was coaching. So that was the strategy I came up with when I adopted that kind of perceptual position, which is an NLP technique, neuro-linguistic programming. Speaking of NLP, I finished the 3rd video in Iman Gadji's Digital Launchpad. It's very good, by the way. I think he's refined that down to a very nice flow there, to get your head straight, to even start thinking about making money. And he speaks about SBA, his SBA worksheet, See, Believe, Achieve. And yesterday in this impromptu video, as I was reflecting, I'm not sure if I'll even post that. It probably might come across as quite weird. I was kind of having all these thoughts out loud. I was considering all these books that I've read, notes, how far I've come, what I've achieved, that I've never really given myself credit. Yeah, like for example, this book here, James Clear, Atomic Habits. Like, I studied this book. I read it, I think I've read maybe 4 or 5 times, you know, like I made copious notes. I've put it all into I mean, that's a guy who, if I saw somebody do that, I'd say, wow, you are hungry. You're not messing about here. You're wanting it, you know. So as I reflected yesterday, I thought, no, come on, you've got to give yourself some credit. If you keep beating yourself up and saying you're not there yet, you haven't made it yet, your brain starts to associate pain to trying to take steps forward. You've got to celebrate every step. It's really important. I got that from Charles Duhigg, The Power of Habit. It's very, very important when you're trying to form a new behavior. So anyway, with See, Believe, Achieve, SBA, neuro-linguistic programming, which Gadji spoke about in his 3rd video, he speaks about you've got to see it first. You've got to have a vision, and in NLP they'll teach you to engage all of the senses: sight, VACOG, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory, or gustatory as some people say. It's more the American pronunciation. But engage all of the senses and build a picture so that you can feel, almost smell the smells when you create your vision. And you've got to be able to see your goal really ideally. I mean, this guy speaks about it. Dan Pena, he will not coach someone unless they've read this book. Dan Pena calls himself the $1 trillion man now. But yeah, this guy speaks about your subjective experience, your mind, how we create a reality in this black box we call our mind. And so Iman spoke about it really nicely and concisely and put it in a pretty cool way. But yesterday when I did my impromptu video, I spoke about how not having belief has held me back. It's been a major problem. You can put all of the work in that you want to, doing all these courses and reading all these books and taking massive notes, spending hours writing notes and preparing them all nicely and reflecting on. You can do all of that. If you don't have the belief, you are pretty well screwed. If you have like a limiting belief, you're pretty done for. You've got to address that. You've got to remove those limiting beliefs. But Gadji goes back a step further, as James Newman does, excuse me, and speaks about how you've got to see it. You've got to be able to define that goal very clearly, where you want to go, and you must be able to see it. And ideally take 20 seconds. I say 20 seconds. Ideally, it would be probably a minute, but no one seems to want to do this stuff. You know, and I understand it. It's kind of boring and monotonous, but you've got to get excited about it and take at least 20 seconds every day to close your eyes and see that vision. In Proverbs, which is kind of King Solomon's diary, the book of wisdom, it says, without a vision, the people perish. You've got to have a compelling future to look forward to. So that was really helpful. The way he explained that, Gadji, was very nicely done. You've got to see it, then you can believe it, then you can, when you start to read and learn and need to take steps, you can achieve it. Because if you don't believe that you can achieve it, when you're taking those steps, there'll be some hesitation, you'll do it half-hearted. As soon as you get rejected, you'll give up and you'll never reach a victory. And when you and even if you do reach a victory, you'll just say, well, that was a fluke, because you don't believe that you're really either worth it, self-image, psycho-cybernetics, or you don't believe that you can keep this going. It was just a fluke or whatever. So your beliefs affect your actions, but what you see affects your beliefs. You've got to see, believe, achieve. And then when you have that in place, see, believe, achieve, you start to get wins and you start to go back and believe, well, no, this is just lining up with my vision. This is where I'm going. This all makes sense. And you get, another book called The Winner Effect. You start to get a positive feeling and momentum about victories. You start to see yourself differently as a winner. Your self-image starts to change. Your identity, which is incredibly powerful, because of your actions that you've been taking. But there's that underpinning. You see, believe, achieve, and your self-image at the top, kind of your identity, then reinforces and impacts everything down. It kind of goes up and then down, it all aligns. I hope this kind of makes sense. I'm just sharing my journey. None of these videos are edited. I'm not trying to come across as a clear, concise presenter, as I just demonstrated there. This is more a diary for me, but basically to encapsulate my journey, I've definitely realized how, and maybe I'll share it all one day, because of stuff that happened, I've been holding myself back massively, desperate for change, putting in the work, but being held back by all this other stuff. So yeah, this is my journey. And the reason why I'm struggling to focus is because to give myself a break, and I know some people would say, well, that's a cop-out. Maybe it's a cop-out, but to give myself a break, I've been studying these online courses for nearly a year and a half and got nothing back so far, with also all of this belief that it's not going to happen for me. It's not a limiting belief like I'm not sure this can happen. It's a belief that it's impossible for me. And this is probably a bit real and raw, this video, more than I was expecting to go into, but if there's anybody else who's gone through this or going through this, I really do sympathize with you, and I guess want to say that together maybe we can break through this and get out of this. I've been here before when I used to be, as a child, very chubby. I was very chubby as a child, and I thought that you were just born that way. The people close, or one of the people very close to me, Um, I won't say who, but yeah, they just mocked me and teased me for being chubby, and I hated it, and I didn't know what I could do to change it. I really didn't know. I thought, as I say, that you were just born that way, chubby, and that was your lot in life. But I managed to break through that. I stumbled upon kickboxing and then ended up doing a master's degree in nutrition. And I, by accident, figured out, well, I took up the kickboxing because I had a really unfortunate incident when I was younger, and I figured out I need to learn to fight. And I became obsessed with martial arts, and I was training 7 days a week. And I noticed my body started to change. I was not expecting it. I thought, I just couldn't believe it when I looked in the mirror one day and I saw a vein on this brachial on my bicep. The light was coming in through a crack in the curtains. It was morning, I was getting ready for school at that time, and I saw like the contour of this vein down my arm, and I was like looking at it like, is that, you know? But what happened in that moment was my belief shifted, and that is incredibly powerful. So I saw, believed, and then I started to achieve. I still was screwed because now I had the problem of strategy. I was using the wrong strategy. I was trying to just use exercise to get the fat off, and then I tried to use restrictive dieting. And there are two big pitfalls that people fall into and eventually give up. That starts to develop the belief in them. It works backwards as well, that they can't reduce the body fat. So yeah, all of that to say, that's kind of an evolution in my mind. I've managed to write out my goals and my why, and I've stuck them on my bathroom mirror. And Iman Gadzhi's given me a reminder then the importance of having a clear vision of where you want to go. He talks about it in this book. I don't think it's necessarily mandatory reading this book. Dan Pena says it is. I think it's very important, all of that stuff. Who knows? Maybe for you it is mandatory reading. But yeah, you do need to be able to see it so that you can believe it and achieve it. And seeing it, creating a vision is not, there's a technique to that. Some people find it really hard to visualize stuff. Anyway, I hope that captures the essence of this video. Struggling to focus yesterday because I've been doing the same thing. I think that having a vision and believing I will achieve it will invigorate me, because till now I've kind of really struggled with belief that this is going to happen for me, and that saps sort of the life out of you. Why would you try if you believe that you're going to fail? So yeah, maybe this is a landmark video and a moment, a shift. I've put my goal down there. I've got a goal for 2 months away, kind of 6 months away and a year away. It's a bit of a lofty goal, but let's change my language, because your language reveals your subconscious. When I achieve that big goal, I will be free. I will be able to travel anywhere. I will be able to start stacking and investing double time because I'm behind on that. And I'll be able to do something for someone who needs my help, basically. So yeah, let's go for it. It's going to be a great day. Got to believe it and got to speak it as well. Not that speaking it makes it real, but when you change your language, it changes your thoughts. So yeah, I have a feeling this will be a memorable video. We'll see.